Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, so today back to work over here on this big monster cane mill project, and we kind of left off last time. We had started the process of trying to get this large gear off of the main roller so that I can get that roller over on the lathe and do some turning to the journals and get those ready to pour new babbitt on. It, of course, was giving us trouble, as one might expect. There's no telling how long this gear has been on here. Was trying to pull the key out over there and just kind of ran up against the clock, had to stop because I had to make a trip out west to the Bardsley Summer Bash. Back home now, it's actually been, well, it's probably been close to 3 weeks since I've had a chance to really be in the shop working now, and this is kind of where we left off and kind of back over here on this, and we're going to pick up where we left off and try to see if we can't get this thing to separate apart. A lot of you guys had a lot of suggestions. A lot of suggestions that people kind of sent me were things I was already kind of thinking about doing, but I've had 3 weeks to think about what I'm going to do. I got a game plan, but it's probably going to be a process going through until we just get this thing beat down and done. So without further ado, let's pick up where we left off and see if we can get this thing separated apart. So this was kind of what was giving us the trouble was this key. This is a tapered key that goes in there. It was probably beat in with a 20-pound sledgehammer at some point in time, and it is in there tight. It's wedged in there. We've been trying to get it apart. I've had a slide hammer on it. I've had my toe jack. This is a 10-ton toe jack without any success whatsoever. I think what I'm going to do is we're just going to see if we can just start trying to press this, and as we press that gear out this end, hopefully it'll pull on out and come with it. That's all I really know to do. So I'm going to get the toe jack out of here. We're going to disassemble the slide hammer, and I've got a little portable hydraulic press that I've made some time back. I'm going to try to see if I can get that mounted on this thing and put a big hydraulic jack in there and see if we can jack this thing apart. Let's give it a try and see what we can do. So first things first, I want to clean up this shaft around here. We're going to try to press this out and just make sure there's nothing on this that can give us any extra pressing problems as we go apart. So I just got a wire wheel. I'm just going to basically just go around this shaft and just clean that up and make sure we got nothing there that can interfere. So we got some weld splatter or something up on top of this. I need to put my jack on that, so I'm going to put probably a flap disc on here and just kind of grind that stuff off so we have a nice flat surface that we can press on when we go to press this apart. I think next we need to get our press mounted over on here and put some pressure on it. See what happens. All right, this is the contraption that I cobbled together some time back. I can basically put this up underneath what I'm pressing, put a jack in between here, and basically just convert this into a portable hydraulic press. Now what we get to do is see if we can get this thing configured where I can grab that hub up underneath it. It's going to be challenging, but we're going to give it a shot. I'm going to start by taking these cross members off and dropping it down over there and see if we can get it in place without having to modify this. When I built this, it was built for a specific job, so the spacings and all that were kind of designed for something in particular, and I've used it for a couple of things, since I built it. But I don't know, we may have to modify it to make it work on this. We'll see. Let's get in here and see what we can do. All right, I think it's going to actually fit through the spokes here without interfering with anything. Now let's see if I can get my cross pieces on the bottom where it'll actually grab the hub. I really don't want to press on the spokes. Let's see what we can do. I've got these spreader bars up under the bottom here, and I got these links that will connect them all in place. Let's see if I can get these in. And I get the bar on the other side connected as well. Man, it's gonna be a contortionist to get in on this stuff. All right, I don't know how well you can see it, but I've got my cross pieces down here on this bar, and I got them in as far as they'll go. They're right up on the shaft, and they're basically pulling up on the hub up underneath the bottom. I'm not putting any pressure directly on the spokes. All the pressure should be going on the hub. And now I'm going to put a hydraulic jack in here, basically take up this space, and we're pushing down on the centerpiece and pulling up at the same time on this outer piece, and hopefully get these separated. And now let's get our jack in here. I've got a 30-ton hydraulic jack that we're just going to place in here. I'll just screw this up, take as much of that slack out as we can. And one thing that I do here is I'm going to take this and just tie it to the whole part up top. And the reason is that when this thing, if it all kind of comes falling apart, that jack doesn't go flying down. It'll hang from the above here. Don't ask me how I know that. And now let's put some pressure on this and see if we get lucky. Got 30 tons of press on this hydraulic jack I got right here. All right, I've got pretty much the full 30 tons on this jack right now. Just kind of sitting there static, and I've got an air hammer here. I've got a chisel in here. I really don't want to chisel this up. I got a piece that goes in between them. I'm just going to try to put this on here and get a little vibrating action going on it and see if I can kind of break this thing loose before I put any heat on it. So we're just going to put this on here. See if we can get it to move. Man, just not having any luck. I guess we're going to have to get the torch out. Let me get it fired up and put some heat in this. All right, I got the torch and the rosebud going here. We're going to start putting some heat in this. See if we can get it to break loose. The idea here is I want to heat up this outer hub and try not to heat up the inside. Of course, it's going to heat up. That heat's going to pull in across there, but hopefully we can get it to expand this outside just a little bit. Won't take much, hopefully, and break it loose. What we're going to try. Let's see what we're getting to. I'm just going to hit this with an infrared thermometer. We're about 235 degrees. Yeah, a little over 200 degrees, which we don't need to have a tremendous amount of heat in this hub to expand it, because we were at about 200 degrees. Out here on the outside, we're about 82 degrees. Let's see here. Let me put a little jackhammer pressure on there. Not yet. All right, more heat. Well, as I am apt to do, I've had to change plans here again. My 30-ton jack wasn't cutting it, wasn't moving this thing at all. So I have upped the ante, and I have gone out and sourced me a 100-ton jack to go in here that I can use with a power pack that I've got, a 10,000 PSI power pack. So I've got this thing plumbed in here now, and we're gonna do it one more time and see if we can get this thing to budge. Now, I did have to make some modifications to my little homemade press thing, mainly because it was such a long stretch from these two outside bars holding this in. It was bending the bolt that was going through there. So I've put in a third arm on each one. Now, because of the way the spokes came out on this, I kind of had to make them bend and come out. So a little bit of welding there. I found some channel iron that I was able to adapt for that. So had to do a little fabricating, had to modify the top of this a little bit to make it work. Truth be told, guys, I've spent about a half a day just re-rigging this whole thing, and I didn't shoot any of that on video. It was just grinding and welding and putting things together. But I'm hoping that this is going to do it. So I've got this. I've really only got about a 1/4 of an inch right now before it gets into this key, but I'm hoping I can get it to move. If it does, we'll jack it up a little bit, and we'll just kind of inch it down until we get this thing out. That's the game plan. Let's keep our fingers crossed and see what it'll do. I'm gonna try it at first without any heat on anything. Probably gonna have to resort to putting heat in here, but we're gonna give it a shot and just see if it'll move with 100 tons. Let's give it a try. So like before, this whole press assembly is suspended from the gantry crane, so it's supported. And I've got a little bit of room up underneath the bottom of this that we can move. If it starts moving, I'll probably have to kind of jack it up or lift it up a little bit to get enough clearance to pull this gear off, but we can make those adjustments on the fly. Let's fire up our pump and see if we can get this thing to go. All right, here goes nothing. See the cylinder moving up. Well, guys, this is kind of embarrassing. I was over here just working right along, got things going, got things moving, and when I got stopped, I wouldn't realize I didn't have the camera turned on. So you guys missed all the fun, but let me kind of tell you what happened. So we put the pressure on this thing, and it got a little scary. I mean, you could tell there was a lot of pressure on here. I was hearing little tinks in the welds here. Nothing was breaking or anything, but you could kind of hear it. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I heard a snap, and I looked over here, and this thing had moved maybe 1/8 of an inch. And we put a little bit more pressure on it, and it just pressed right on out. We've got this shaft pressed down probably a little over 1 inch right now. As it was pressing, the key was in here, and the key was pretty much staying on the inside shaft, so it allowed me to go. Eventually, the key kind of caught on this lip. Daggum, got some lightning close by. The key caught on the lip, and eventually we got to the point where there's no more room in here. So I stopped everything. I'm gonna have to reposition, put some spacers in there. We've got a long way to go to get this thing pressed out, but we're making it happen. This is working, and I am happy to see that it is working because I've been really stressed out over this whole thing. Without any heat too. We didn't put any heat on there. Everything was pressed cold, and everything's going good. It just took a lot of force. But it's going good. Let me get my jack kind of repositioned over here, and hopefully I'll remember to turn the camera on this time and you can finish watching this press out. All right, I think we are ready to go for a second round of pressing here. Let me kind of explain what I've done just so everybody's kind of on the same page. First off, I raised it up. I put another 6 inches riser in here. That just gives me some clearance down below because we're pressing that shaft down. I've got a piece of wood down on the floor to hopefully protect my concrete if that thing kind of drops down. It shouldn't fall very far. The other thing that I've done is I know that when this big drum in the middle comes loose, it's going to want to tip over, fall over. So I've got some boards in here that are screwed down to my sawhorses that should kind of stabilize it and kind of keep it in an upright position so it doesn't go falling around too much with any luck. Again, the top gear is suspended by the this whole brace right here, so that should not fall out. It is supported by the gantry crane, so even when it separates, we've got something going there. And I've put another couple of inches in here to press down on, so we're going to go ahead and fire up the jack again and see if we can get it to press the rest of the way out. This time I'll try to remember to turn the camera on so you can see it. All right, here we go. I am going to fire up my pump again, and we will start putting some pressure on there. And I just want to kind of guide that a little bit, get it lined up, and there we go. We are pressing. There it goes. Just bumping it out a little bit at a time. A little time. All right, I think we're ready for round 3 here. I have pressed it down about 3.5 inches so far, and we got about another 2.5, 3 inches to go. We're going to make another press here, and may have to do one more. We'll see, but I'm just having to do it a little bit at a time. All right, let's let it roll again. We'll let that cylinder come up and engage at the top. And here we go. It's not closer. All right, something's not wanting to go there. Let's see what's going on. Get back on it. See if we can get it to go that last little bit. There it goes. Now it's just pressing right on out. Not quite there yet. We are really close. So I'm going to have to reset one more time, it looks like, and see what we need to do. All right, looks like we have pressed this down to where the bottom gear is touching. There's actually a key in it, and the key is touching on the bottom. It was going pretty good right there at the end. I'm going to see if I can just pick this top gear up and see if it'll just come on off without pressing it any farther. We'll see what happens. Well, we're raised it up a little bit. It's suspended. The gear is suspended, so let's see what we can do here. I may take this press out and just put a hand-powered jack in there to kind of finish this out with. I think it's not going to take all the pressure, so let me get that one out of there and see what we can do to finish this job up. All right, I got my 30-ton bottle jack in there, and that should be plenty to finish this job up, but I do need a little bit more clearance on the bottom, so I'm just going to raise it up enough to put another shim or two under this. Just going to put some 2x4s, little blocks. I'm going to lower that gear back down. All right, just feel better with it. It's resting on something. I've got probably 2.5 inches of clearance up under the bottom. Let's see if we can. There it goes. That's all it took. All right. Let me get everything cleaned up and ready to move, and we'll see if we can pull this top gear off of here. But I think we got it separated. Happy to see it. Well, I thought I'd show real quickly this little homemade portable press, as I call it. This is something that I came up with a while back when I had a need for a job that I couldn't get into a hydraulic press. And I literally cobbled this together just out of some scrap metal laying around the shop. And it has come in handy many, many times over the years. I just kind of keep it tucked away, and it keeps getting used. This is really neat, nice, because I don't have to have, sometimes you just can't get the part into the hydraulic press. This you can kind of assemble around the part and get it. You basically put these crossbars up underneath the bottom of what you're pressing, put your jack in here and press on the center, and it works just like a regular hydraulic press, but it's portable. You can move it wherever you want to go. So you really need to have like this gantry to suspend it, because it is all heavy, and you don't want it just kind of hanging up there, because whenever it breaks loose, it just kind of falls apart. But if you can hang it from something above like this, it works out pretty good. Thought I'd show that. I know it was hard to see it over there in the while it was installed. And these little angle brackets, this is my new addition this time. Like I said, I was having problems with all the force. It was bending the bolt up underneath the bottom. So I put this in there, and that gave me clearance to get around the spoke, which is why they got that bend in them. If I'd had the clearance, I could have just put a straight bar down in there, and it would have been a lot easier, but we had to adapt. So nice thing about having a welder and scrap metal is you can adapt on the fly. We're going to put this back up. You'll probably see it again. It has been seen many times, and it's become an invaluable tool in my shop. All right, we are going up with our gear here. I've got it rigged up with 4 straps. Put some tension on it. All right, we are suspended, and now I'm going to roll my gantry over to where we can offload this. And I got some of those timbers up underneath this to set it down on. And there we go. I'm going to see if I can get this key out of here now. There we go. That joker was in there tight. And I'm going to lift it up and kind of set it up on its side, prop it up against the mill. I just want to get this out of the way more than anything else, so I'm not taking up so much floor space with this thing. So I got 2 straps on it, and we'll come up with it and just get it out of the way. Yeah, that's good. All right, that'll give me a little more floor space for the time being. Just taking a look at this, these surfaces in here. This is where that gear was pressed on at, and it's still nice and clean there. You can still see the turn marks over on this backside. You guys probably can't see it, but it's still shiny right there, opposite of the key. Of course, that was where it was pressed up the tightest at. A little bit of corrosion in there, but nothing major. Now down here, this is the bearing surface, and this is the part that we're going to have to turn. I won't turn this area so we can get that gear back on it, but we are going to turn and freshen this up area right here up for new Babbitt bearings. It's not in bad shape, but it's bad enough that I think that we're going to need to take probably 10 or 15 thousandths off of it. The other side is very similar, but also there's the key, and it was hung on something, and you can see we moved some metal as we were pressing that thing apart, but it came on out. So we'll clean that up, and that'll probably get reused. No reason not to, I don't think. So that looks good. And probably the next thing to do is to get this whole drum laid down safely, and where we can get it picked up and put over in the big Monarch lathe and do the turning that needs to be done on it. There's a smaller gear on the back side. I'm not decided whether we're going to have to take that one off or not. We may end up having to press it off as well. I've just got to see if I got room to grip that and everything else in my lathe. I'm going to check out some chucks and stuff like that. In the meantime, like I said, we got some boards kind of screwed down to these sawhorses so this thing can't tip over. And I'm pretty much done for today. I have been out here working on this all day long today, and it's been some heavy lifting. I'm about had it, so we're going to come back and pick up on another episode and work on getting this this drum turned. I am glad to finally have this monstrosity kind of out of the middle of my shop, because it has literally been sitting here for about a month. I've been on the road a lot during that time and just haven't been able to get around in here, or get back and work in here. But the few times I've been in and out, it's just been in the way. So glad to have some space starting to clear up again. Guys, with that, that's a wrap. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Those thumbs up and comments are always greatly appreciated. Hit that bell icon up there to get notifications when new videos are posted. And as always, a big thank you to those who support the site financially through Patreon and PayPal. There's links for that down in the description below if that's something you can help out with. Greatly appreciate it. It helps me to be able to take the time to shoot these videos and bring them to you. And with that, guys, we're going to sign off. We'll catch you on the next video. Again, thanks for watching.